Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 plus hours a week. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you when is the right time to hire an admin assistant or a virtual assistant in your trades and construction business that's going to save you time and increase your profits. But before we go there, I'd like to announce that the doors are now open for you to apply to join my Inner Circle marketing and business coaching program. This is a 12-month program where I teach you how to build, grow, scale, and even sell your trades or construction business. The link for you to discover more is in the description and the show notes to this episode. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link, head over to our landing page, check out all of our testimonial videos on there of other tradesmen and women that have grown their businesses by 300, 400, 500% over the last 12 months. Now, let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. I'm sure you know that deep down, you need some help and support in your business. I mean, come on. You cannot continue to do everything in your business yourself. At some point, you're going to feel stressed, overwhelmed, and burnt out. But when is the perfect time to take on a part-time, full-time, or virtual assistant? This has to be one of the most common questions that I get asked, and I'm sure you've already thought about bringing someone in at some point into your business, but you haven't got a clue on how to do it. In fact, maybe right now you've already got somebody helping you out with all those admin tasks in your business. This usually starts off with a family member or a close friend that's helping you out with all that paperwork and that admin. And who knows, maybe you are one of the minority where this relationship actually works out and works out well for you both. But in the vast majority of cases, this casual type of relationship doesn't work out long term. So what happens? You go back to doing everything yourself yet again. Now, there are 6, and this next word I want you to think about. There are 6 excuses, because that's what they are. There's 6 excuses on why you've not got an assistant working alongside you right now. And these 6 excuses are these. Number 1 is mindset. As in, you haven't got the right mindset to understand that time is the most valuable thing that we've all got. And if we don't free up the time, we can't invest that time back into us business, which means we can't grow it. And you think with this mindset that you can do everything. Maybe you're in them early stages of business where everything's still exciting and it's like a honeymoon. Well, listen, that honeymoon period is going to end. So number 1 is we have to have a shift in mindset. Number 2, you're saying to yourself and making the excuse, I can't afford one. I know I need help, Craig, and I know I'm staying up till daft o'clock doing all my paperwork, but my business is not making me enough profit to afford one. Absolute rubbish. Of course it is. You just don't understand the value of time. Number 3, I can't find one, Craig. I don't even know where to look. I've spoken to a number of them and none of them seem to fit or tick all the right boxes for me. I can't find one. Really? There are thousands of VAs out there that can help you. It doesn't have to be a full-time or part-time person. It can be a virtual assistant where you pay per hour. There's thousands of them. Number 4, I don't have the time to spend training one up because I'm busy. I'm rushing around like a blue horse flying firefighting. So I don't have the time. You do have the time. We've all got the same amount of time in a day. You're just not prioritising your time. Number 5. I've tried one already, Craig, and it didn't work out. They were rubbish. They didn't answer the phone correctly. They didn't do what I wanted them to do. You know, they ripped me off. All this nonsense. Well, whose fault's that? That's your fault because you didn't give them the right systems and the right procedures and the right scripts and the right video tutorials and the right standard operation procedures for them to be able to do the job right. You've abdicated, not delegated. And point number 6 is, you are what I used to be and what most business owners are deep down, and that is a control freak. You want to be in control of absolutely everything that goes off in your business. You can't stand for other people to be poking the nose in or having some responsibility in your business, and you're trying to micromanage everyone. Well, listen, you can't build and grow and scale a business if you're trying to micromanage everyone and you haven't got the right mindset to let go of your baby a little bit and let somebody else in. So these are the 6 excuses, and they're all excuses because I come across them all the time. In fact, I've made them all myself over years. So I know they're excuses, and you've got to overcome one or all of those 6 excuses if you're serious about scaling your business. So my goal for this particular episode is to remove all those barriers, to remove those excuses and show you that time and financial gain is there. It's there for the taking if you've got the right mindset to go and take it. And I hope by the end of this episode, you've made the decision to take on an admin assistance, because without the help and support, you will become a prisoner in your own business. Now, throughout this episode, I'm going to be giving you other podcast episodes that are specific and relevant to some of the topics and subjects that I'm going to be sharing with you right now. So I want you to make a note of these other podcast episodes, and then at the end of this one, I want you to go back and I want you to start to listen to the ones that I'm going to suggest, because they're all going to help you with time management. Now, grab your notepads, grab your pens, grab your tablets, and let's get stuck in. Time is the single most valuable resource that every single human being on the planet has got. And you know this. You hear of everybody saying that time's more valuable than money. And deep down, you know it. You know that we're going to run out of time on everything at some point. But for some of you, you are not focusing on the valuable asset of time. What you are focusing on is money. So what you're now starting to do is you're starting to trade your time for money. Now, in the early days of setting up a business, of course, we've got to put the graft in. Of course, we've got to put them extra hours in. Of course, we've got to go over and beyond. And if that means putting some late evening shifts in, so be it. If that means having to work a Saturday or Sunday, then so be it. And that's what we have to do in the early days of our business. But I'm a firm believer that if you've been running a business for 2 years or 2 years and more, you should not be working ridiculous hours. You should be finishing at the time you want to finish, whether that's 3, 4, 5 o'clock. You shouldn't be working evenings. You shouldn't be working weekends. You should have the work-life choice that I teach. So if you've been running a business now for more than 2 years and you're still rushing around like a blue horse fly firefighting and time's controlling you, then something is drastically wrong. If you are a new business and you are within 2 years old, you have got an unfair advantage on all the established businesses. Why? Because if you implement what I'm going to share with you in this episode, you are going to avoid what I call stage 2, which is being a busy fool. You're going to avoid that stage and you're going to work to avoid it because you're going to implement what I'm going to share with you in this episode. Now, what do I mean when I say you're trading your time for money? Why does this happen? Well, it happens because as a business owner, you have made some bad or some poor decisions in the past that are now catching up with you financially. So you are now forced into working whatever hours needs to be worked because you've got to pay the debt, you've got to pay your overdraft, you've got to pay the VAT man you owe money to, you've got to pay your CIS tax or your corporation tax or your self-assessment tax money that you've not got. So all of a sudden, because you've made bad financial decisions in the past because you don't understand the numbers in your business, that's now caught up with you and you now feel forced into having to work whatever hours we've got to work because you're chasing the money to pay the debt or to pay the cash flow problem that you've now created. Does that make sense? So you've created this situation yourself because of bad or poor decisions that you've made in the past. And do you know what's even worse than this? If you've got a team of employed staff, not necessarily subcontractors because we can lay them off and we can get rid of them as and when. But if you've got employed staff and you've made bad or poor decisions in the past and financially you are a little bit up shit creek, let's say, and you've got staff, what this leads you on to is it leads you on to taking almost any type of work on just to keep your staff busy. And by taking any type of work on means that some of that work is not going to be profitable. So now you know you're not solving the problem of making more profit, you're just prolonging it and delaying it because now you're taking work on that you wouldn't normally take on when work gets slack just to keep your team busy, just to keep them going. And that defeats the whole object of running a business. Running a business should be that you are making profit for the least amount of time. And one of the sayings that I have to all my inner circle members when they start my program is this: I want you making the maximum amount of profit for the least amount of time. And now for some of you, you're not making profit and you're working stupid hours, which defeats the object of running a business. Now listen, I know what this feels like because as I've shared with you on previous podcast episode, and for people that know my story, and go back and check episode number 1 out if you want to know my story, I was the ultimate busy fool. This were me all over. You see, I used to get up at 5 o'clock every single morning. When I were on the tools, when I had my construction company, when I were a busy fool, I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and this were my typical day, right? What I'd then do is as soon as I woke up, I'd be checking my emails and checking my messages and responding to emails at 5:30 in the morning, just trying to get a head start. Then what I might do is I might think, all right, I'll get a couple of invoices done and out first thing in the morning, and I'd start to do my invoicing early in the morning. Then what I'd do is I'd jump in my van, I'd drive down to builders merchants or timbers merchants, I'd be sat outside them gates from 7:15 in the morning waiting for doors to open at gates, so I'd be first through gates so I could load my van up, load my other team's vans up so we could go and get to his jobs. Sometimes I'd have to load my van up, drive to the other side of Sheffield to drop some materials or timber or screws or silicon or whatever off for another one of my team on another job. Then what I'd have to do is I'd have to get over to my job for 8 o'clock, 8:30. Then what I'd do is I'd start working on the tools. So I'd get up that scaffolding, I'd strip that roof off, I'd start building that dormer window. And just as I start, my phone would start ringing. I'd look at my phone, it might be a member of my team on another job. I'd answer the phone, and then it's like, it's frustrating as hell because they're asking me questions that are like just common sense questions. Just deal with it yourself, sort it out yourself. But no, they needed babysitting. So here's me, Muggins, stood on roof, building a dormer, trying to solve problems and trying to tell my team what to do on other jobs, and I'm not even there. Why? Because I'm babysitting, they got no common sense. I put my phone back in my pocket, I get my S-Wing gamma out, 10 minutes later, phone's ringing again. It's somebody on another job, or it's a customer texting me, or a customer calling me. Get to lunchtime, I go downstairs, fucking sales reps had just turned up. Hey up Craig, how's it going? They'd want to stand chatting to me for half an hour, trapping shit about football and things like that, because they've got nothing else better to do. So there'd be reps just rocking up on my job and my other team's jobs. I'd graft all day, I'd build that dormer, I'd sheet the roof up so it's nice and watertight. And then what I'd do is on my way home, I'd stop and survey a job, an enquiry, a lead had come in. So on my way home, I'll just go and have a look at that job. So I'd go to that job, I'd have a look at it, and I'd get in at 7 o'clock, and I'm absolutely knackered. I'd sit down, I'd have my tea, I'd probably spend half an hour with my wife, half an hour with my kids. And then before I know it, kids are in bed at 8 o'clock. I've got my laptop out and now I'm doing my pricing. I'm doing my quoting. I'm finishing off the invoicing that I started at 5:15 that same morning. Before I knew it, it's midnight. The house is quiet. The house is in darkness. And here's me still working at midnight doing all this paperwork, and I've still got a to-do list as long as my arm. You see, I still haven't done that VAT return I should have done. I've still not sent that content over to my web designer who's been badgering me for a week. I've still not signed up to that 14-day free trial and took advantage of that software that I should be doing. I've still not ordered them 8x2 joists that I needed for that next job that next day. And then eventually go to bed, and then next minute, alarm's going off, it's 5 o'clock, and then the same vicious cycle starts all over again. I'm back on that treadmill, I'm back on the hamster wheel, just waiting and praying for Sunday to come, not Saturday, because I had to work Saturdays, Sunday, so I could have a breather and a bit of a catch-up. And the reason why I were in that position is because back then, 30 years ago, when I started my business, I didn't understand the numbers in my business. I didn't understand marketing. Systems, automations, software, apps didn't even exist back then. I didn't know when to take the right staff on. So I took staff on at the wrong time. So now I've got a big overhead. And that's what led me to trading time for money. I needed the money to pay for the overheads in the business, which meant I had to work every hour God sent just to break even each week. And then there were some weeks where I'd go without even getting paid because I'd not got enough money to pay myself. I've got to pay my suppliers. I've got to pay my subcontractors. I've got to pay my employees. And then there were weeks, and I mean weeks and weeks, where I go without even a penny. But here's me working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week for sweet FA. I'm sure you must know what I'm talking about here, because if you've got a busy, growing business, then you'll be experiencing some of them same problems and pain points that every single growing business experiences. And what I'm saying is, these podcast episodes that I'm doing are designed for you to not make the same mistakes as me and not make the same mistakes as the vast majority of other trades business owners. Are you with me? Now, it was at this time where I thought, I can't continue doing this. I'd been running my business for 12 years and I were no better off 12 years later than I were the day I started. In fact, if I'm being honest, I were in a worse position because I weren't making any more money than I were when I were on books working for someone else. But I were working 80, 90 hours a week. I was stressed out at max. Now, for the people that know my story, you'll know that what I did to change everything. And what I did to change everything, I changed my mindset and invested into personal development. And then what I did is I started looking at time. Where is my time being spent? How can I get my time back? Because until I get my time back, I can't solve any of these problems that I've got because I haven't got enough time to solve the problems. So the rest is history. And again, if you don't know my story and you're new to this podcast, please go back to episode number 1 where I share that story with you of being that busy fool to building, growing, scaling, selling my construction company. And for the last, since 2012, I've taught over 30,000 business owners how to do the same. So the first thing that we've got to stop doing is using time as an excuse for everything. Because I know deep down that a lot of the time you'll be saying, I ain't got time to do that. Only if I only had enough time, if I had a bit more time, if I had another couple of hours every day, if I could turn 24 hours in a day into 30 hours a day, then maybe, just maybe, I could get everything done. If there were 8 days in a week and not 7, then that'd give me a bit of breathing space. Listen, stop making time the excuse for you being where you are in your business and in your life, because time has got absolutely nothing to do with it. There is so much time to get everything done. There are enough hours in a day. There are enough hours in a week and a month for you to get everything done. The problem is you are not planning your time correctly. You're not being productive. You're not being efficient. And if anything, you will be wasting so much time. And if I could get you that time back that you're wasting alone and we reinvested that back into your business, that would make a significant difference to your business. So let's stop using time as the excuse. I said that point number 1 and the excuse that people make is down to the mindset, and it is. And with respect, and I mean this with respect, time is not the issue in your business. Cash flow is not the issue in your business. Marketing strategy is not the issue in your business. Your team is not the issue in your business. What the issue is you. You're the bottleneck. Everything starts and finishes with you. So we've got to change that mindset, and you've got to start saying to yourself, do you know what? There is enough hours in a day. I'm just not using them hours to the full potential. I mean, come on. How can it be that I can run multiple businesses and still have time to run them businesses, spend time with my family, spend time going on holiday, spend time on me, spend time on my hobbies, and still have spare time left at the end of every week? How can that be? That's because I understand the value of time, and I do whatever I need to do to keep as much time as I can in my time bank to spend on me. And if you're listening to my podcast episodes for long enough, you'll know that I come out with these little one-liners. And I'm going to come out with another little one-liner here. And I want you to make a note of this. And that one-liner is this. When you're prepared to do what other people aren't prepared to do, then you'll get the results and then you'll get the success that you're looking for. Let me say it again. When you're prepared to do what other people aren't prepared to do, then you'll get the results and then you'll get the success. So when I say that there is enough time in the day, look at me as an example this morning. I got up this morning at 4 a.m. And I posted into my Inner Circle members' WhatsApp groups just after that this morning with their daily accountability. I'm up at 4. By 5 a.m. this morning, I've completed my morning routine, and I've even put a post in our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group this morning at 5 a.m. I've looked at my default diary, which runs my entire life and runs my entire business, and every minute of my day is meticulously planned so that I'm not wasting any time. I'm now recording this podcast, and once this podcast is recorded, that's me done for today. I'm finished. I'm done. I've got spare time. I can do what I want with it. Why? Because I understand the value of time. Now, what were you doing at 4 a.m. this morning? What were you doing at 5 a.m. this morning? Are you prepared to get up at that time and do what I do? Are you prepared to invest that time and effort into your mindset like I do? And this is what I'm talking about. When we start to do things that other people aren't prepared to do, then we'll start to get the results. Now, for me and my businesses to run like they do and to free up my time, I need help because I can't do everything myself. So I employ staff in different areas of my business that are more qualified to do the work in those areas, that can do it better, faster, quicker, slicker, more professional than me. And by me outsourcing lots of different areas of my businesses to other people, it then starts to free up my time. And with that time, I'm reinvesting it back into the right areas of my business so that my businesses make profit while still giving me the time back that I need to enjoy spending the fruits of my hard work and my labour. And that's where you need to get to. But the only way you're going to get there is by getting help and support and outsourcing and delegating some of these tasks and some of this work that you're doing to other people. Because if you don't start delegating and outsourcing these tasks, and you continue to keep doing everything in your business, you are going to be that busy fool that hasn't got time to do anything. You're going to be burnt out, worn out, stressed out, overwhelmed. And I don't know about you, but I had 12 long, hard years of feeling like that. And I don't want you to be in that position any longer. Now, I use a number of different tools and software and techniques and tactics, if you like, to be able to manage my time and become more productive and more efficient. You've already heard me mention one, and that is my default diary. Every single business owner must run their business and life through a default diary. Okay, I don't do anything or give any of my time up without putting it into my default diary first, making sure that I've got the time, and then I've got a decision to make. Do I want to give this task or person an element of my time? Because if I give it to them, I'm actually taking time out of my 168 hours that I've got in that week. And am I going to get time or financial benefit from giving this task or this person my time? So, if you want to know how to create a default diary and what the benefits are of you having one in your business, I'm going to encourage you at the end of this episode to check out episode number 4. And episode number 4 is where I share how to create a default diary. I'm also going to ask you to check out episode number 17. And episode number 17 are 10 time management and productivity tips that will save you 25 hours a week if you implement them 10 time management productivity tips. So I want you to go and check out episode number 4 and number 17. In the early years of running a business, and again, I'm giving you a time scale of 2 years because I believe within 2 years, your business should be systemized, automated, you should be making profit, and you should have got your time back, right? So in them early 2 years of your business, you have to wear so many different hats within your business. So 1 minute, you're the tradesperson and you're working on the tools. You're doing your day-to-day running of the job, right? Then you're doing the marketing. So you're the marketing department all of a sudden because now you're creating content for social media, content for your websites, writing blogs, shooting videos. You've now become a full-blown marketing department. Then you take that hat off and you put another one on. And that other hat is now you're a bookkeeper, you're an accountant, you're a finance director. And all of a sudden, you're doing your banking, your bank reconciliation, you're doing your invoicing, you're tying your sales invoices up to your customer invoices, you're tying your purchase invoices up to your suppliers, you're getting all that lot on QuickBooks and Xero. Then you take that off and you put an admin person's hat on. And now all of a sudden, you're a glorified admin person because now you're answering the phone. You're texting people, WhatsApping people, you're typing quotes, you're doing all your paperwork, you're sending and receiving emails. But it doesn't stop there because then you've got to take that hat off and you've got to put your project manager hat on. And now you're ordering materials. Now you're organising labour. Now you're planning your jobs in on your job board to see when you can fit that next job on. But then you take that hat off. And then you're the customer service department, dealing with your phone calls and your emails and your communications between you and your customer. Then you take that hat off and you put another one on. And that's your babysitting hat. That's the boss hat, where you're having to babysit grown-ass adults on jobs because you're bombarded with calls and messages of them asking you stupid questions because they've got no common sense and they can't do the job or answer the questions yourself. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's exhausting. Now, if there's only you in your business and you're bringing enough work in for you, you might be able to cope with this because if you're going to be prepared to graft 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, then maybe you can just keep your head above water. But what happens when you start to scale your business? What happens when you've got too many leads coming in for you? All of a sudden, you then think, I'm growing my business. This is amazing. I've kept myself going. I now need what? You say, I now need an apprentice, or I now need another fitter or another engineer. And you think by taking that other member of staff on, because you've got the leads to go at and the work coming in, you think that you're going to start to make more money. And that is the biggest mistake you can make at that point. You don't want to be taking any more team on. What you need to be doing at that point is you need to be putting in the 5 pillars to profit. This is the backbone of how you build and scale a business. And if you don't put these 5 things in the right order, you will end up trading your time for money and being that busy fool. You don't want a team at that point. What you want to do is, number 1, you want to get your mindset right. Number 2, you want to know the numbers in your business and understand the numbers so you know that what you're offering and selling is making you profit. You then get your marketing nailed on, which is step number 3, pillar number 3. You get your marketing nailed on to attract more of that profitable work. Pillar number 4 is you then, when the work starts to come in, you then put the systems and the processes and the procedures and the automation and the software and the apps in place to cope with this avalanche of work that's coming in so you don't have to do everything manually. Then, and only then at that point, do you bring in pillar number 5, which is a team. Because when you bring a team in, then the team's running the systems. The systems are being managed by all the leads that are now coming in. The leads that are coming in from profitable work because you know the numbers. And all along behind this is you're sat there with the right mindset, building and growing and scaling a profitable business that doesn't take your time. But no, we don't do that, do we? Nobody teaches us this. What we do is we start rubbing his hands thinking, oh, if I take another person on and we've got the work to go at, then I'm going to be making twice as much money. Oh, this is amazing. I'm growing my business. But what we don't realise, by not having the systems in place, by not knowing the numbers, which means now we're going to be doing work that's not profitable, right? By not doing any of them 5 pillars, here's what happens. all of a sudden, you've got 3 times as many leads coming into your business, which means you've got 3 times as many leads to deal with and communication with potential customers. You've got 3 times as many jobs to survey. You've got 3 times as many jobs to price. You've got 3 times lots of materials and labour to sort out. You've got 3 lots of T's and C's to sign and send out. You've got 3 lots of deposits to bring in. You've got all them invoices to send out. You've got 3 times as much communication with the customers and the teams on that job, but you don't factor this in. And because you haven't got the right systems in place, you are now left doing everything in your business. And this is what leads us to staying up till daft o'clock at night like I used to, and having to work Saturday mornings or Saturdays or Sundays to catch up. Well, that's not what running a business is designed to do. You've just created yourselves the world's toughest job. You're working more hours than anybody else, and because the jobs that you are doing aren't profitable, you're not making money. But now you've got an overhead, because now we've taken somebody on. And we can't just sack them because they're employed. So now we start panicking, thinking, I need the work to keep us going. Are you with me? It becomes a vicious cycle. So what you must do, ideally, before you even start to become that busy fool, and with respect for some of you, it's too late. You are already where I used to be. And that you are doing everything in your business, and you are trading time for money because you have made bad mistakes in the past, and now you're forced to work in these hours because you need the money, right? We've got to start to get rid of, write this down, write these words down. Get rid of and delegate all what I call LVTs. LVTs, right? And LVT stands for low value tasks. Low value tasks. And what I mean by a low value task is if you could outsource something to somebody, right, that was a task that the person you're subbing it out to or delegating it out to is a cheaper cost to the business than you, then you need to outsource all of those low value tasks. Because as the business owner, you should not be spending your time on low value tasks. When we can outsource that to somebody else and the cost to the business is less than you doing it, that becomes a low value task. What you need to be focusing on, which is what we're going to come on to shortly, write this down, are HVTs. You want to be spending time on high value tasks, not low value tasks that you can outsource to an admin person that can do it for half price and quicker than you. Are you with me? So have you worked out your own value to your business? How much is your time worth to your business? Because I bet you've never even worked it out, have you? You don't know how much your time is worth to your business because you don't know the numbers in it. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you're paying a subby, whether that's an heating engineer, a sparky, a joiner, a bricky, whatever, roofer. Subbies nowadays are wanting, let's say, around £300 a day. Could be more, could be less, depending on where you are in UK listening to this episode, right? But let's just say, for argument's sake, that your subcontractor wants £300 a day, right? And let's say that you are paying that subby for 9 hours a day. So 9 hours into £300 works out at £33 an hour. So your subcontractor is costing you £33 an hour on that job in your business. Now, if you've never worked out the value of your hourly rate to your business, let me just give you an hypothetical example, right? How much would you need to pay someone to come into your business with all the different skills that you've now got. Because you're not just the joiner or the bricklayer or the scaffolder or the landscape gardener or the plasterer or the heating engineer or sparker. You're not just that, are you? Because now you are a marketing department and you've picked up some marketing skills. You're now a bookkeeper because you've picked up some bookkeeper skills. You're now a leader or a foreman or a works manager because now you're running jobs. You're now a project manager, so you're now ordering your own materials. You get what I'm saying? You've homed in on so many skills running a business. So if I were to say, if we were to pay somebody to come into your business to replace you on what you do and the amount of hours that you actually work in your business, how much would you have to pay that person per day? Think about it. Do these people actually exist? They do. They're all working for themselves. I could come, you could train me up to come into your business and I could do what you do, right? But you wouldn't be paying me £300 a day, would you? Because that's what you're paying your subbies, just to rock up, get the tools out of the van, toss it off all day, doing whatever they're doing, get the tools back in the van and go home. You're paying them 300 quid a day. So what would you have to pay someone to do what you do and work the hours that you're working in your business? What would you pay them? And if you've never worked this out, you don't know the number. So let's make it easy. Surely you are worth at least 3 times, right, what you're paying your subbies. You're worth more than that, but let's just go on the bare minimum, right? Let's just go 3 times the worth, right? Because you're doing more than 3 times the different skills in the business. You're working probably 3 times as many hours as what they're doing. So let's just say 3 times what you're paying your subby. So that means you pay someone £900 a day to do what you do. Divide that £900 by the 9 hours that you're paying that person per day, works out that their worth to your business is £100 an hour, yeah? So 3 times 300 is your £900. Divide your 900 by the 9 hours, divide that 900 by 9, gives you your £100 an hour. Now, when you work it out properly, right, I'm telling you now, you will be coming in at hundreds of pounds an hour. Not 100, hundreds, because that is technically what you're worth in your business. And that's what you would have to pay somebody to come into your business and do what you do. But let's just say, for the argument, it's just £100. Now, all these low value tasks that you're doing are now costing you £100 per hour to answer the phone. It's costing you £100 an hour to send emails and text messages. It's costing you £100 an hour for you to order materials and organise labour. It's costing you £100 an hour every time you sit there and spend an hour creating invoices. It's costing you £100 an hour for every hour you spend typing quotes up. Why the hell are you doing low value tasks at £100 an hour when you can outsource this to a virtual assistant for 30 quid an hour, when you could employ someone on the books for £20 to £25 an hour, part-time or full-time? Why are you doing low-value tasks at £100 an hour? It just doesn't make financial sense. And an assistant that does this day in, day out, you'll outsource it. They'll do it quicker than you. They'll do it faster than you. They'll not make mistakes like you make, because at evenings and when you're tired at night, you make mistakes, right? During the day, if you're answering the phone all the time and you're on top of a roof like I would be building a dormer back in the day, I can't answer my phone. That could be a lead that I've missed. That could be a customer trying to get hold of me, so customer service doesn't look good. They will answer your goddamn phone straight away for you. So, by you paying a virtual assistant, let's say £30 an hour, right? You're still saving £70 an hour, and you're getting the job done quicker and faster and better than you can do it, and you've just saved yourself an hour of time. And with that hour of time that we spend, we reinvest that time back into a HVT, a high value task that is going to make you more profit or make you more time. You didn't set up your business to become a glorified admin person and bookkeeper, did you? In fact, to be honest, most tradespeople hate doing invoicing. They hate doing admin. And you're staying up till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night doing that shit, right? When you should be investing that time into yourself, into your hobbies, into some me time, into gym, into being healthier, into being fitter, into your loved ones, into spending time with your kids, instead of ignoring your kids at evenings because you've got your head buried in your laptop and your kids are saying to you, Mum or Dad, I'm going to bed now. Yeah, I'll be up in 10 minutes. I'll come up and give you a kiss in 10 minutes. And then your children, they go to bed. And then next minute, you look at your watch and it's 2 hours later and you've missed it. Why are you doing low value tasks when we can pay somebody 30 quid an hour to take that off you, which speeds up the process and gives you that time back? Do you see where I'm going with this? However, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you, although you're probably all agreeing with me, some of you will be saying this. Remember what I said earlier about the excuses that we're making. Some of you will be saying, I get that, Craig, but I can't afford to pay someone £30 an hour. Because that £30 an hour, by the time I've paid them a day a week or whatever in admin help that I need and support, that might work out at £200 to £300 a week that I've got to find to pay someone. And I'm only breaking even as it is. Where am I going to find that £200 to £300 a week? So it can't be done. Bullshit, it can't be done. Go back to those 6 excuses that I mentioned right at the beginning of this episode when I said to you, number 1, you ain't got the right mindset. If you're sat there now thinking, I can't afford to do this, Craig, right? I'm telling you now, your mindset needs to shift. Because if you're telling yourself that you can't afford to do it, or you haven't got time to do it, or you've tried it and it didn't work in the past, if you're coming up with any of them bullshit excuses to yourself, why are you in business? Because you're not in business to become a busy fool, are you? You're in business to make money that frees up your time. I'm telling you now and teaching you now how to make money and free up your time. So if you're using excuse of, I haven't got the money, right? That's because you're not spending time on high value tasks that's going to improve that profitability. And why aren't you doing that? Because you're dicking about wasting time on low value tasks that somebody else could do. Does this make sense? So you can all do this. You've just got to have a shift in mindset and understand that if I'm going to subject myself to doing everything in my business all the time, and I don't trust anyone to do what I do, and by the time I've explained it 10 times to them and they've done it wrong, I might as well do it myself. If you're going to continue that, then you continue to be a prisoner in your business. You continue to be a slave and a busy fool, and everything around you is going to fall apart. So for those people that are thinking, I can't do it for whatever excuse you're giving yourself, I want you to hear me out here, because what we're going to turn our attention to now is what we call high value tasks. Because if we can free up your time by you not answering phone, by you not doing your emails, by you not sending out your quotes, by you not doing all your invoicing and paperwork and admin, if we can save you time doing that, and then you reinvest that time back into the high value tasks, right, then that's when your business is going to start to take off. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If you were to come and spend the next 2 days with me working on your accounts and the numbers in your business, and we started getting laser focused on identifying what your worth and time is to the business, if we started looking at things like hourly rates and break-even figures, if I were to teach you how to price a job correctly using gross margins and overheads and net margins, if I were to save you money on overheads that you're paying for that you shouldn't be paying for, if I were to save you money and avoid you overpaying on taxes, because I'm guessing, honestly, 9 out of 10 people listening to this right now, you will be overpaying on taxes. Even though your accountant has said you owe this money to HMRC or Vatman or whatever you're paying, even though they're telling you to pay this amount of tax, you are just another number in their business, and they have spent no time whatsoever working out your taxes, where you can save money, where you can put money into pensions, where you can buy assets, where you can start putting money into commercial property. They haven't done that. They've probably given your accounts to the apprentice and they've knocked them up, and then the main person signed them off. You will be overpaying on taxes, I guarantee it, right? If we started spending time on how can we improve the flow of money coming into your business quicker to ease that cash flow. So can we increase profit margins? Can we start taking deposits? Can we put interim payments in and start taking bigger payments up front? Can we start getting paid on the final day of the job by introducing card terminals and things like that, right? If we looked at just the numbers in your business and you were to spend the next 2 full days sat at the side of me, do you think that we could find £200 or £300 or make an additional £300 or save £200 and £300 if you come and spend 2 days with me? Of course we could. It's an absolute doddle, that. But the question is, can you tomorrow come and spend the next 2 full days with me? No, you can't. You can't just drop everything because you're doing everything in your business, which means you haven't got the time to come and spend with me on the high value tasks because you're too busy dicking about on the low value tasks. You see where I'm going with this? Do you think that if you were to take a day out of your business every single week, like I teach my inner circle members and get my inner circle members to do, you take a full day as a minimum out of your business every week, and what you do is you work on the business, not in it. In other words, all of the strategies that I teach, all of the worksheets, all of the plans, all of the templates that I give them, they've got to take a day out of their business a week and they work on implementing the strategies that I'm teaching them, right? So if you were to take a day out of your business every week and you just consumed the content on these free podcast episodes and you started to implement all the strategies that you're listening to, but the likelihood is you're not taking action on. Why? Because you haven't got time. Do you think if you did that though, and you did invest a full day of your time into your working on your business, and we put that into marketing, right? So all the marketing strategy starts to change and we start to look at who your target market is. What's the messaging like? What content do we really need to create? How can we vet them customers? If we started looking at increasing your conversion rates so that you were converting more of the leads that were coming in, if we started bringing upsell strategies in, if we started to bring in a referral strategy for all your happy customers and clients, if we started to do just that, and you took a day a week out of your business to do it, could we make more than £200 or £300 a week profit on the extra marketing that we're bringing in, the extra leads, the quality of them leads? Of course we could. But how many of you are taking a full day out of your business to do that each week? Not many. Why? Because time is controlling you, because you're chasing time, you're chasing money over time. Productivity. Do you think that if you had more time to put into implementing the right systems, the right automation, bringing the right software in, upskilling your team, do you think that if we made your team more productive and more efficient, so in other words, if they get paid at 8 o'clock, right, some of your team will be turning up at 8:15, right? And then by the time they've had a chinwag, had a cup of tea, talked about football or whatever it is they're doing, they decide to get the tools out at 8:30. And then throughout that day, they should have 15 minutes for break, but they don't. They have 20 minutes. Then at lunch, they should have half an hour, but they don't. They have an hour. By the time you add that lot up over the day, you might be paying someone a full hour a day because of unproductive time. If you then have got 8 members of staff or 8 subbies, that's 8 hours a day. At 300 quid, you do the maths. 300 quid a day times 8 subbies, do the maths. That's how much money you are wasting by becoming unproductive and by your team becoming unproductive. So if we put the systems in place and did some training with your team and got them to start doing what they're getting paid to do, and they're doing it more productive and more efficient, do you think you could earn more than 200 to 300 quid a week? Of course you could. You can save that in the downtime that they're costing you. What about materials? How much time do you spend sourcing new suppliers for your materials? And how much time do you spend playing one supplier off against another to get your material costs down? And I don't mean buying cheaper materials that are substandard. I'm on about ringing your wholesaler up and getting a price from one, spending time going to another and another and another to get your prices down, and then getting your prices down and fixing them prices for the next 3 months. Do you think if we did that with your materials, whatever you're buying, whatever trade you are, we could save a couple £100 a week? Of course we could. But what would happen if we started looking at your numbers and then started generating more profitable leads? And then we had the right systems in place that dealt with them leads. Then we brought the right team in, and the right team are now not tossing it off, playing on the phones all day, messing about on TikTok and watching reels when they should be grafting in your time. What happens if we get the right team in? When you bolt that lot together, you're now making or saving thousands of pounds a week. Why? Because you're investing that time into the high value tasks. So the high value tasks are then going to far outweigh the 200 or 300 quid that you're going to have to spend on the admin person. Are you with me? So all this about, I can't afford it, right? You can afford it. What you've got to do is you've got to speculate to accumulate for a week or two until you start to free up your time so you can spend it on the high value tasks. And when you start to shift your mindset and you start to shift your approach on what you're focusing on in your business, and we start looking at what's going to make you the money and what's going to save you the time, then all of a sudden things start to happen. Because you've got an admin person in that's starting to free up your time and deal with all the low value tasks. You're starting to now spend time on the high value tasks. You're starting to bring more profit in, but at the same time, you're starting to free up your time. And the more we look at this and the more different areas of your business that we start to get laser focused on, over a period of time, your business starts to transform. And you start taking back control, number one, of your time. So time is no longer controlling you. You start to control time. And because you're controlling time and you're making more profit, that starts to ease the cash flow problems that some of you may well have got that's forcing you to trade your time for money. What we need to be doing is we need to be looking at where we can find time, because we can make more money when we find time. I can't make you any more time. We've only got 168 hours in a week, 24 hours in a day. I can't make you more time. I can free up some of the time that you're wasting during that period, and we can start to get laser focused on where you're spending that time and investing it. I can't make you more time. What I can do is I can make you more profit all day long. I mean, come on. If you want to make more profit, do this. Put your prices up tomorrow by 15%. Some of you will be scared to death of putting your prices up by 15% tomorrow, because you'll be saying, I'm going to lose work. I'm already too expensive. No, you're not. Your mindset is in the place where you're too expensive, and you think that putting your prices up tomorrow by 15% is going to price you out the market. But if you get your marketing right, and we can get that brand out there and show people the quality of work that you do and why you're a little bit more expensive than other people, and we market to the people that have got the money that want that quality service, all of a sudden you will start to attract people to your business that's prepared to pay more for your product and service than somebody else's. Let me put it another way. Let's say you're an heating engineer and you're fitting boilers. Would you rather A, fit 5 boilers a week, right? A boiler a day, 5 boilers a week. So you're busy, all your time's taken up with fitting these 5 boilers, and each boiler you make £500 net profit on, right? That's £2,500 a week net profit, but you're working 5 days a week. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have this scenario? You work on your marketing, you start to attract those profitable leads, we vet those leads to get rid of time wasters, and all of a sudden now you're not fitting 5 boilers a week, earning 500 quid a day. You're only fitting 3 boilers a week. But those 3 boilers, you're making £1,000 a day, because you found the right target market that want to pay a little bit more for quality service. So if you think about it now, you're making £3,000 net profit because you're fitting 3 boilers a week. But more importantly, not only are you making more profit, you've now got 2 spare days. With those 2 spare days, we're going to reinvest that time back into the high value tasks. Now, I don't know about you, but why would you want to work 5 days a week to earn £2,500 when you can work 3 days a week and make £3,000 and free up 2 days of your time? Well, the only way you're going to get to that point is by increasing your prices and increasing your profit margins, which is why I'm saying put your prices up by 10 to 15% tomorrow. Yes, you will lose some work, because there will be people that don't want to pay that money. But you don't want everyone. We've just proven that you only need to work 3 days a week. All you need is get 3 boilers at £3,000, job £1,000 a piece. That's it, job done. That's your goal. You see where I'm going with this? Now, at the beginning of this episode, I said I wanted to teach you 2 things. That is when to bring the admin person in and why you need to bring an admin person in. Well, I've just covered the why. I've just explained why you need to do it. We need to get away from them low-value tasks and move over to high-value tasks. To do that, we're going to need an admin person. But the question is, when do we do this, Craig? When is the right time? When do I know when to do it? If I can understand that, I can work towards it. Well, my answer to when is now. It doesn't matter where you are in your business right now, whether you've only been set up 1 week, Maybe you went self-employed last week. Craig, when do I need an admin person? Now. You might have been a business that's been established for 2 years and you're coming into that busy full period. Craig, when do I need one? Now. You might be a business that's been established now for years and you've got a small team and you've got 2 or 3 vans on the road and you are working silly hours. When do you need one? Now. There isn't a right time to bring in an admin person. There isn't a period of time where you say, oh, I've got to wait until I get to this point where I've got this amount of work or this amount of people working for me or my turnover's this before I can take someone on. No, you've got to start thinking about time is more valuable than money. So the sooner you can bring somebody in to start helping you with that time, the sooner you're going to start focusing on those high value tasks. So if I was setting up a new trades business next week, what I would have done is what I've just explained earlier in this episode. I would have gone through the 5 pillars to profit, which is, number 1, I need the right mindset. So I've got a growth open mindset to accept that what Craig's sharing in these podcast episodes is right and I need to do it. Number 2, I would have already run the numbers in my business, right? And I'd have worked out what is the most profitable product or service that I can offer. Because if I'm that sparky, I don't want to be offering everything. I want to be offering the product or service that's going to make me the maximum amount of profit for the least amount of time. So what is it? I'd have run the numbers. Number 3, I'd have put the marketing content and strategy together to start to attract the people that are going to buy the most profitable product and service that's going to take me the least amount of time to fit. I'd have worked on that marketing. I would have then put the systems in place. I would have got ServiceMate in place for job management. I'd have got Leadzilla in place for sales and marketing. I'd have got QuickBooks and Xero in place for my accounts. I'd have got all that lot set up. Then what I would have done, I would have took my first job on, and that first job is going to be a profitable lead because I've run the numbers. The job's going to go into ServiceMate or Leadzilla, which is then going to take care of all the admin and the automation so I'm not having to do it. Then what I would have done is I'd do the job. And only when I've got too much work coming in for me would I then take on another joiner, another fitter, another heating engineer. But while I'm doing all this, I would have already brought in a virtual assistant because I know that I'm going to need them. I know that I'm going to need to keep that time spare to focus on high value tasks as my business starts to grow. Even if that just meant I'm only paying that VA 3 hours a week, 90 quid a week, I'd be paying them that from day one. I'd have them on day one because I want the time. If I've got the time, I can make more money with it, but I can't make more time. Are you with me? So now is the time you bring an assistant in, whether that's part-time, full-time, virtually, and you outsource it 2 or 3 hours a week, 2 or 3 days a week, whatever you've got to do it because you need that time. Because without getting that time back, you cannot focus on the high value tasks. Your action tasks and what I want you to take action on from this episode is I want you to go and start to research and find an assistant that can help you. Now, you might not be in a position to offer a part-time or full-time job to someone, and I understand that. So what you want to be looking for is what they call a virtual assistant or a virtual PA, someone that you can pay per hour, perhaps, that can help you to do these low-value tasks. Now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is put a post into our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group asking for suggestions on who my Inner Circle members are using as a virtual PA, because my Inner Circle members, between them, they're probably using a dozen different VAs that are all fantastic for all different parts of their business. So they've got the answers that you need. So come over to our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group, drop a post in, tell us that you've listened to this episode, and ask our community, look, I've listened to this episode, Craig's right, I need a VA, I need someone to help me with all the admin, who are you all using? And I'm sure our community will tag people in on who they are using. What you need to do is go and do a bit of research on them and find out what services they offer, what prices are they, what's their pricing structure, have a chat with a few, and then have a trial. Say, listen, I'll do it for a month and see how we go, right? And start to work with these people to get rid of those low value tasks. So that's your first action task. Your second action task, I'm going to share with you another podcast that I want you to go away and listen to. And this is episode number 24. Because in episode 24, these 5 pillars to profit on how you should build your trades or construction business the right way, in the right order, at the right time. Inside that episode, I cover what these 5 areas are, and I go into depth on what you need to do to implement each one of them 5 areas. Because if you built your business the wrong way around or upside down, you've got to sort of like make changes to those areas first. Are you with me? And that in itself will massively help with getting your time back and also increasing your profit margins. So episode number 24. Now, if you're a new listener and you're thinking, Craig, what's this Trades Freedom Club Facebook group you've mentioned? We've got a community of thousands of positive tradesmen and women that are all proactive in our Trades Freedom Club Facebook group. This is the most helpful and supportive trades Facebook group you will ever come across. It's safe, it's thriving. We all share best practice and knowledge and what's working. We all ask questions, and we're all supporting each other on our journey to success. That's what the whole ethos and the whole culture is around the Trades Freedom Club. It's to help and support each other so we don't have to make all them classic mistakes and become that busy fool. Now, if you go to the show notes and the description of this episode, you will see the link for you to click to come over and join our group and community. So thank you for joining me on another coaching episode. I'll see you on next week's episode. And remember, the results that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. Thank you.